This resident office ghost is unusually helpful. Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by Nice Socks Dude, the ghost here opens filing cabinet drawers so that you don't have to. In the video, the bottom drawer of the cabinet slowly opens. When the cameraman pushes it closed, the upper drawer then slowly slides forward. Push closed again. Both drawers slide open on their own. The cameraman pushes them closed again, but they both again open, one after the other. Some in the comments think the load is too heavy. They might be spring-loaded or off balance, or the entire building's foundation has sunk, but at least one Redditor agrees that it's a ghost. Do you think this office is haunted? If that's the case, at least this ghost is helpful. This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. YouTuber Om Vlogs stayed in this haunted hotel for 24 hours, and they didn't get a wink of sleep. It all began with the closest doors. They slam closed but then open again. They open wide enough to reveal that there's no one inside. Later, they believe something is in the bathroom. Watch for the shadow in the corner. Well, the YouTuber thinks that this is a shadow person. I think it could belong to him. Watch it again. Could it just be the way this light falls in the bathroom? Share your opinion in the comments. This next video shows that even a zip line is in perfect condition. With flawless equipment is never truly safe. Sometimes things just go wrong. A giant gator pops up to try and snag this instructor out of the air. There is a decent amount of space between the two, but I'm sure it was plenty close enough if you asked her. And she definitely knows what waits for her should she ever make a future mistake and fall in. So I guess the final and most important lesson of ziplining over water is to always keep your legs up, because you never know what's lurking below the surface waiting to take a chomp. A YouTuber named Kamadina is recording his sister and parents in a parking lot while on vacation when he gets the strange and eerie sensation that he is being watched. He turns around and walks for a bit in the direction that he feels he is being watched from, and then he zooms in. Sure enough, this pale figure stands facing him from afar. He turns around to go back into his hotel, but the feeling of eyes upon him returns. He turns around to take in the figure one last time, who is still standing in the same spot far away from all of the cars and everything else of interest. Their white outfit looks suspiciously bright given the low lighting.
That was weird. Wait a minute.
Kamadina hasn't a clue as to what this could be, or if one day he will see it again soon, much closer next time. When this small plane's propeller stopped moving, it was forced to emergency land. We're now experiencing engine failure, says the man videotaping the event. If there's a place to land, we shall be okay. He speaks rather calmly considering their propeller froze mid-air. The sky around the hilly region appears murky, and there's clearly some strong wind tearing at the aircraft. Find a flat ground so that rescue vehicles can come in, the man says. He places all responsibility on the pilot, telling him, "It all relies on your experience now." The pair find a piece of land in the water to force landing upon, and again he emphasizes how they're all relying on the captain. The plane quickly descends and hits the ground with a thud. They strike a rock, but the pair lives. When they rather calmly land, the man videoing the incident thanks the captain for saving his life. The captain says he told someone this plane wasn't good to go. A father and his 2 children explore this abandoned house as a strange way to bond together, but I think it might have ended up ripping them apart. They cross into the dark kitchen and immediately hear a wild growl, followed by low whispers and a pair of glowing eyes. They are hurrying out of the house as fast as they can, but debris is everywhere, and they have to move slow. Just when they are about to leave, they find the way blocked by their absolute worst fears. The thin ghoul is barely reminiscent of a human. Its features wide and dark and taking up large portions of its face. Its eyes and nose are missing. Its mouth nothing more than a wide cavern, extending from cheek to cheek. This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. This dress looks a bit different than normal, but its odd edges are more than a fashion statement. There's absolutely no way you can predict what happens next, and that's exactly the point. With the sound of a dentist drill, the dress slowly unfolds like an umbrella into pointy edges that look like they can really dig into someone's skin. The dress is actually equipped with motion sensors to detect if someone unwanted presses up against you. Thankfully, it takes 15 seconds to inflate, which is plenty of time for people to safely get out of the way. The only problem I could see, aside from the embarrassment of everybody nearby watching your dress inflate, is that this could probably go off at the slightest touch. I presume the technology is not able to discern between a person or an object, so I assume even brushing against the wall for a brief period of time might be enough to set one off. This child is learning how to play PeekABoo when she apparently loses her balance and topples over.
Lexi!
Except when you take a closer look, you'll see that the girl's feet appear to be firmly planted on the ground the entire time. Upon closer inspection, it looks as if she falls over unnaturally, almost like she's being shoved. There's now a fierce online debate as to whether this child was pushed by an invisible force or merely fell over by accident. I know that kids don't have the best balance, so she could have fallen over on her own, but the way she takes a couple steps back also makes me think that something paranormal is at play here.
What is that, dude?
A single strange light in the sky has a YouTuber named Jesse Tablebeast looking up with curiosity and horror.
Yeah, it's definitely flying, whatever it is.
He and his friend decide to drive towards this strange blinking light and investigate what it could be. This still image taken at 4 minutes and 58 seconds gives us a better look at it. A disc-like object floating in the air. There's an intense light coming from the bottom and also a small circular dome on top. They don't know what it is, and neither does anyone else. A minute later, they are at the source of the light, which is much larger now but still just as unexplained. They think the light is coming from a nearby power plant, but it's too dark and rainy to tell, so they go home without knowing for certain. This light, while bizarre, might be from a busted power generator, but if that were the case, then you'd think the light would be low to the ground and constant. The light is high in the air. Tell me what you think it is. This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was. This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse, or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting and the worst is yet to come. The massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event, and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang Sandstorm. Parating na. Sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, oh. Hindi ka makla dito.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house, looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike, and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds, fleeing the scene.
I think I just heard the bike.
She claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike, and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride." Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go. As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What was that?
When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
Is that doctor?
That was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center, asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out.
Do you hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
Oh, God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here? Over on the r/ghosts subreddit, a user named CamSunkissed shares a video of a home surveillance recording on his front porch while a pizza delivery driver drops off the order at the house. Seems fairly normal right now, but this simple pizza delivery turns into something much more terrifying in just a matter of seconds. Very clearly, you can just hear somebody's voice. It's almost like a whisper, and it doesn't seem to catch the pizza delivery man's attention. It's just very bizarre and out of place here. I'll just play it one more time. Just listen very, very closely. Amazingly, it doesn't even seem as if the pizza delivery driver even hears anything, so maybe this bizarre sounding voice was only audible once listening to the recording and not in person. That would definitely explain why the driver has no reaction whatsoever as soon as the voice starts speaking, but I would like to imagine that if he did hear it, he would be a little bit freaked out and would probably quickly drop the order off and leave immediately. One commenter says it sounds like perhaps Spanish, and he thinks the voice could be saying, "Do you listen to me?" Of course, this is just speculation, so take it with a grain of salt, but either way, this is one voice you certainly wouldn't want to hear on your security camera. Maybe you aren't paranoid, but you might be followed. Published by Jasco in June of 2021. This is part 8 in a series of Randonautica experiences over several days. Jasco and his crew are using the app down in Florida State. During their Randonautica tour, they find an old sofa in the forest.
But Wendy's?
What we're here for is this. Yeah.
After some coaxing, Jasco lifts a mysterious item that's tucked into its cushions.
That's like a video game or something. What the hell?
Is it an iPod?
Yeah, what's one of the old iPhones?
No.
Why is it like in saran wrap? Oh,
Wait.
That item turns out to be an old iPhone saran wrapped to the letters C and F.
Feel a little bit safer.
it is an iPhone. Look at that. iPhone.
Bro, I always wanted they had like a coral one.
That's so weird.
Okay.
What?
We just found a phone in the middle of nowhere.
I know, that's super old.
They try to turn the iPhone on, but its battery is empty. Later on the mission, Jasco says Chris has been hearing something all day, and now he hears it too.
Like, where else could it be? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. Yo,
Like, what would it
literally, hold on. Can we talk about something quick? You've been hearing things like all day long. Like, you're like, bro, what is that? Like, I hear like some type of beeping.
A beeping sound? Jen finds its source.
What?
It's a tile tracker,
That's one of
bro.
those little.
A tile tracking device. She said she found it in between the middle console. They run it over, but it's still functioning.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
All this time they were being tracked. Someone was in their rental car the day before and planted it. But who? My guess is someone with ill intentions. A man has been plagued by a demonic invasion that refuses to give him peace. On February 9th of 2017, he records not one, but two shadow figures ominously standing nearby. All you can do is hear his nasal breathing as he watches, stunned and trying not to scream, all while this heavy drape breathes in and out all by itself. Watch how it moves. That's not the wind. Besides, it was staying still for the past 4 minutes and 40 seconds prior. And you don't even want to see what's moving on his other window. I'll show you its true form in just a little bit, but for now let's focus on a couple different incidences first. On July 22nd of that same year, he is turning over a crystal again and again, possibly in hopes that some of its protective energy will rub off on him. Slowly but surely, this bright spot begins to manifest itself before his very eyes, starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds. Hope turns to horror as the omen spins around to reveal a grinning reptile-like face that he's sure is the Lord of the Underworld himself, its stony face shrouded in half darkness. This ties into a separate incident 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he claims to have recorded what he calls a ghoul lurking in the bush outside of his window. When you pause at 3 seconds, it does look like the top half of a skeletal face that soon disappears into the bushes, black eyes and all. That definitely wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It looks remarkably similar to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. Sometimes it would show up in the most unlikely of places, like the folds of a piece of fabric as shown here on February 15th, 2017. Do you see the creepy goblin face with a long nose, big ears and open mouth? I can even see an eye, and that's the more friendly of the two faces. This second one looks like two worried eyes and a mouth locked in a permanent scream. There's not as much detail and some of the features are disproportionate and misshapen, but it's still there nonetheless. So now that you've seen the demon's face a few times, I suppose you are ready to see the rest of it and the rest of the original video. This is what he saw crawling into his home that fateful early February day. This upside down creature is in fact one of the many beings who he claims to see on the regular. It's hard to make out exactly what this is, but it's harder still to disprove it, and it gives me a bad feeling all around. I tend to believe this video, and all of these sightings for that matter. He claims the quality of the video has somehow sharply deteriorated over time since uploading, and that the being at one point looked more detailed and even had horns. I don't see how this is possible for a digital copy to become less clear, but the colors do look muted here and apparently were brighter. So I want to know if you think that this man is legitimately seeing demons around his house, or if this is all happening in his mind. As much as I want to believe this is a delusion like some people think it is, I don't necessarily agree. The problem is I do see a lot of what he claims on video, so there's a good chance it could be true. If you don't believe in witches, history tells us that at some point many did, and innocent people had their lives taken because of it. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Exploring with Danny writes, "The trials of the Pendle witches in 1612 are among the most famous witch trials in English history, and some of the best recorded of the 17th century. The 12 accused lived in the area surrounding Pendle Hill in Lancashire, and were charged." Danny explores this historical area in the darkness of night, going through the flooded grounds of the forest, alongside old stone fences, above and beyond the history. The forest is spooky in and of itself. Not only do animals regularly wail while Danny enters the forest, but the remoteness, the wind and rain, and the strange and random items he comes across makes for an even spookier encounter. He first comes across a bathtub filled with dirt and a red liquid. Still, he enters deeper in the forest, only to say Bloody Mary 3 times into a mirror posted up on a tree.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
And look who appears behind him in the mirror. Once Danny sees Mary, he starts to wander in the forest, looking for her. Whatever this is chases Danny out of the forest. When he at last arrives to his car, you think he's finally safe. Think again. If this doesn't make you fear ever going to this location, what will? A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him, at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass. A creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. This video is short and sweet and will leave you frozen in fear. Shared by Twitter user Kazos Paranormales. No context has been shared, so let's just watch. Here's what I can collect is happening here. First off, the garbage scattered around the room is oddly unsettling. But this takes the cake. I'm not sure what's exactly happening in this video, but I do want to yeet it to the sun. Night Owl 2007 published this video of a creepy sewer creature in February of 2018. In the video, some guys are walking along the road at night when they stop at a big heavy manhole cover and proceed to enter into the sewer. They remember how scary the sewer is, long dark tunnels, loud echoes. In order to see how deep one of the tunnels goes, the crew cracks a neon stick light and, turning off all other light sources, throws it into the tunnel. The tunnel must be deep, but the depths do terminate, as you can still see a tiny pinprick of light in the distance. As they're playing around with the neon sticks, the camera catches a skull-like face peeking over one of the crew's shoulders.
I don't think you're throwing out enough light here.
Anything?
What the
It looks like a ghoulish mask leering behind him, but when the guy moves out of the way and the cameraman casts his camera beyond, there's nothing there. Needless to say, the entire crew springs into action, racing out of that sewer like no one's business. There is a roaring sound at the end, echoing as they jet out of the tunnel. We can assume they made it out alive, otherwise we wouldn't have this video to show for it. Is this cat talented, or is it possessed? Published by Darrell Zand in May of 2012, this couple captured their cat acting out of character, crawling between the upper door frames near the ceiling like some crazy trapeze artist. As the couple is filming, a mysterious, vibrant blue streak flies toward the camera. The cameraman sees it in the moment and comments on it.
Now that was weird.
Was that a ghost orb? Some in the comments certainly think so, but most think the cat was scared beyond measure, not possessed. The cat even appears to watch the strange orb as it flies across the room. What do you think? Scared, possessed, or something else altogether? A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed just to see what's next. Soon the brick walls give way to smooth gray stone that more closely resembles the likes of a cave. When they see these highly detailed faces carved into the wall, they know they are on the right track. It's definitely a creepy sight for sure, but walls are still covered with tons of graffiti, which means that a million people have been here before. They aren't crossing new territory, at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the what the Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the
Ruptured asphalt, a volcano of water, mud flooding an entire street. That's what happened in Ukraine's capital of Kiev in May of 2017, published by KVN. This incident occurred due to a 2-meter wide pipe breaking while work was being done on a water canal. The footage shows the very moment the volcano breaks through the asphalt, toppling over garbage cans and gently nudging the cars in its path out of the way. Another camera angle captures just how high the mud reached. According to reports, the mud slushy hit all the way up to the 7th floor of a building. Miraculously, no one was harmed in the event, but some of these cars definitely needed a few runs through the car wash. Creepy creatures creeping in the night, not exactly something you'd want to watch in the dark, but this YouTuber published this footage in August of 2016. The footage shows what looks to be a picnic area late at night. Trees border the area, lights shine beyond, and shadows fall to give you an extreme sense of trepidation and fear. That's when the creepy thing starts to creep out from behind a tree trunk. The humanoid features bony shoulders, a round head, and elongated arms that touch the ground, as if it's walking on all fours. The body is hunched over, the knees bent, and its movements are slow at first and then sudden. It looks like a praying mantis if the insect were humanoid. One YouTuber suggests that it looks like an old crippled man with crutches, while another thinks it's the legendary rake. What do you think this creepy creature could be? A YouTuber named Hello Ryan Holmes lives in a house that you and I want no part of. Scary noises have become part of a daily ritual stemming from paranormal activity, or so he suspects. So when it happens again, Ryan grabs a camera to see if he can catch a ghost on video.
Did you just hear that? I definitely just heard somebody run up the stairs.
Ryan thinks he hears creeping noises of a ghost running up the stairs. Ghost or not, he is definitely not alone. Camera in hand, Ryan gets no further than the kitchen before he realizes.
What the f?
All of the cabinets have mysteriously opened on their own, and when he goes to close them...
Why the f is everything open? What the f? What the f?
He turns around only to find that the ghost has moved every object in his kitchen back to where it was. It looks normal at first, but I think there is an editing cut here at 2 minutes when he briefly zooms into the cabinet for no reason at all. He could have stopped recording, moved all of the objects, and then started recording again to make it seem like it was all done in one take. Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? Ben of the YouTube channel Laney and Ben says paranormal events still occur in their forever haunted home. Here's a quick update of some of those events. First, a cup trick. Followed by the opening of kitchen drawers. Watch the silverware closely. Things get even more dangerous in another video. And the kitchen soon devolves into this madness. It doesn't appear that Laney and Ben's poltergeists are fading anytime soon. In fact, the last video makes me think their powers are only getting stronger.
I just did some research, and I guess if you're gonna get lost at a dead-end, creepy bridge, at least if there's some cool legend, ghost story behind it, then it's worth checking out, right?
An outdoors YouTube channel called Nomadic Fanatic has been camping for a week when he comes across a spooky location, an old bridge that's haunted. According to legend, a bandit named Stuckley was brought to justice here.
And apparently every once in a while, if you hear a splash in the water, that's Stucky's ghost behind here. There's nothing you can really do about. We're out of here. That's about enough of that.
Nomadic Fanatic is all by himself, holding a GoPro when he hears a splash below, which is a bit too much of a coincidence, so I guess that means the ghost story could be real.
And unfortunately, there is a lot of graffiti left behind here. There's nothing you can really do about.
I mean, Nomadic Fanatic has been alone all week and has tons of video evidence to prove he was by himself when this happened. I don't see how it could be set up, and therefore I think this scary noise could be a paranormal encounter with a ghost EVP caught on camera. This spooky midnight sighting is quickly becoming known as the Ghost Boy under the stairs. It could simply be a bug walking across the camera, but what's weird is how it seems to stay confined to the area under the steps. Then at 15 seconds, it reaches the farthest corner and vanishes. Take a look again and tell me if you think this is real or special effects. Even the person who uploaded this video says they didn't believe in the supernatural until seeing this at their job. This possible deep web video was discovered and posted by a YouTube channel called Grizz Overkill. In it, two bizarre looking figures walk forward in jerky, unnatural movements. The first one is dressed like a witch and has long, gnarled limbs and fingers on display. The second one is dressed the same way and is wearing what I hope is a mask and not its real face. Let me know if you recognize these figures from any television or movie series. I would feel a lot better knowing that this is just a film set and not a real video. If this does turn out to be real, then I don't even want to know its location or the surrounding circumstances. Ryan fears his house is haunted. After seeing some scary things in the basement, he goes exploring and gets through most of the downstairs area until there's only a few places left to check, but just when he thinks his house might not be haunted after all. Oh my. Oh. Up the stairs runs a mysterious figure, a scary shadow person sighting if I've ever seen one. Maybe the steps are carpeted to muffle its footsteps, but it's beyond creepy how fast the shadow moves without making a sound. Ryan's scared reaction sounds about as realistic as it gets. He freaks out and runs away, and then walks to the steps where he last saw it as he regains his sense. Against his better judgment, he looks up and waits. He knows something is up there, but he cannot explain what it is, nor bring himself to face it. A scary sound, not quite a hiss, not quite a howl, not a moan, just a creepy warning noise comes down the stairs. He does the smartest thing anybody could do in this situation: stop exploring, get your keys and run. Orkun Isitmak is a popular YouTuber from Turkey who goes exploring on all kinds of adventures. He's one of the few people willing to take a trip to the abandoned city of Chernobyl, a place where few dare to go after a nuclear power plant meltdown in the 80s left the area covered in radiation. He brings with him a Geiger meter used to measure levels of radiation, and a couple of scary moments are caught on camera. In this spot, the meter reaches about 50 units. That doesn't sound that bad, but then I realized an X-ray only takes seconds, whereas he's probably been standing here for hours. Big difference. And when he starts to go down here,
radyasyonun kalbine giden kapı burası. Evet. Artmaya başladı. Yok buraya asla gidemeyiz.
the Geiger meter warns him not to. This tunnel is the heart of radiation, he says, and wisely turns around. The glare is covering the screen, so I don't know how many units the meter reached, but if it was in the hundreds, then permanent damage might have already been done in that instant. Later, as he's exploring a research facility lined with jars of old specimens, he finds a room with nothing but cribs, a room that no doubt has the scariest and most mysterious backstory of all. What was this facility working on, and why would they need to keep so many kids down here? A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot, or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. Devin Brosiv and his friend Brian find the creepy remains of a decrepit hairless doll in the woods one day. They want to take a video of the bizarre find, so Devin goes back to get his phone. When he returns a short time later, the doll is not in its original spot.
Brian, I found it. It's moved. Look. Oh my god, that thing is creepy.
Somehow the doll had become entangled under a thick pile of brush within the brief period of time that it took for them to get a phone and come back to the spot. The two friends record it for a bit and then leave. 2 days later, they get a random impulse to check on the doll again. A light snow now covers the forest floor, though they are confident that they can find the doll again easily. This time, in place of where the doll's head and body used to be, they find its missing leg. Either somebody has been ripping dolls apart and moving around the body parts all over the forest, which is creepy enough, or I guess this doll has been doing it on its own. Both are simply terrifying. YouTuber Hey Charmaine began posting about her experiences in her home. As her story unfolds, so does a terrifying truth shared by YouTube channel The Gravedigger. This scary video shows how Charmaine's horror story escalated. It all started with this strange object she found.
I got a pack of Pepperdine like 10 years ago, but it's modeled after the Bodhidharma, and I don't usually take it out.
After setting up security cameras in her room, she captured things moving unexpectedly. A few days later, while the dog was sitting for her friend, this happened.
Why are you whining, baby? Cooper, what are you staring at? Dude, there's nothing in the hallway.
Later, she captured a figure watching her home in the darkness of night, and then heard something inside. After deciding to go stay at her parents' house for a while, things escalated. Watch the doorway behind Charmaine.
They've been really nice enough to let me stay there, and
What was that thing?
oh my god.
I'm not sure what this figure is, but it seems to be related to the mysterious object that Charmaine found. With all these strange events unfolding, Charmaine has lasted a lot longer here than I would have. Have you heard of the Fresno Nightcrawler? The cryptoid in question was first caught on video surveillance in Fresno, California. It appears extraterrestrial, looking akin to a long pair of white pants with a tiny head. The figure in this video, published in April of 2020, certainly fits that description. The home surveillance footage from Billings, Montana purportedly captures this bizarre creature. Claudia writes, "The figure appears in the top right corner at the 20-second mark, along with sounds that seem to match a pig or some kind of mammal." Right before the timestamp in question, a car appears to drive near the property off camera, casting light into the yard. That's when you see the figure at the top right corner, which looks like it has two legs. Seeming to be scared into stillness, it soon scurries out of sight. If not the Fresno Nightcrawler, what do you think this is? It looks like no mountain lion I've ever seen. Some ghosts just want a little attention. This one apparently isn't getting enough. Published by Jeff Miller in April of 2018. Watch closely as this ghost takes his revenge in this family's kitchen. Something flies off the wall shortly into the video that the uploader says is a picture. Having heard the disturbance, the home's resident enters the frame, heading into the kitchen. Did he come face to face with his ghost roommate? Unlikely, but maybe he should take the hint. The roommate wants the house to himself. A while back, I analyzed a viral video of an unknown creature caught on camera in China. People were saying it was a sickly bear, but villagers insisted it was a mythological spirit known as a water ghost. That one was in captivity, but since then another one's been found running loose in the wild, this time in Malaysia. The way it crawls is not like a bear, but maybe it is sick with mange like they say. Of particular interest is where the supposed bear chooses to go. Remember, villagers in China say this is a water ghost, and then It slips into the water. Don't get me wrong, I definitely think this is just a bear with mange trying to swim away from the camera, but I'm no expert and the villagers are the ones who live there and saw it with their own eyes. The point is no one knows for certain, so I'm not going to act like I do. What do you think this is? A Texas A&M University student in Corpus Christi who goes by the name of Fiffertisor has been hearing noises in his dorm room for quite some time. What began as an occasional knocking noise now, months into the semester, has developed into persistent paranormal sounds, stuff like footsteps coming from an empty room. This red line at 15 seconds is where the far wall is, so like I said, no one is in there, except for a poltergeist. No one could have lifted this mattress, because the room is too small for anyone to hide. Next to the mattress is a closet that's empty and that's it, nothing else. Now the bathroom door opens and closes, yet he finds no one inside of the tiny space either, and this area is even smaller than the room before. In all fairness, there are 2 seconds of darkness from 46 seconds to 48 seconds that I guess could mark a spot where he might have stopped recording, let someone out of the bathroom, and then started recording again to make it look empty. I didn't see any such transition in the first room with the mattress, so my gut instinct says this event is real. A boy thinks he's caught a real ghost sighting. He's checking himself out on camera when suddenly a ghost face in the window moves towards him before disappearing back into the night. There's a lot of pixelation around the boy's head, which at first I thought was due to a cheap camera, but then I realized this is probably a green screen. If you look closely, the ghostly figure in the window is wearing a red shirt that's similar to what he's wearing, so it's probably the same person. I think he recorded himself in the window and then superimposed it over this second video to make it seem like a genuine reaction to a real ghost sighting. It's pretty clever and almost fooled me until I took a second look. A spirit pulls a member of the YouTube team, Kaza Sobrenatural, down a staircase in this scary video. Upon first entering the haunted place, they hear something, and they discover a rope tied to a wooden beam overhead.
A gente acabou de escutar os passos ali. Calma, Der. Tá muito iluminado ali, acho que não. Normal. E a corda continua aqui, aquela corda, cara, que tinha aqui, ó. Parecia que uma pessoa tava querendo se enforcar. Aqui.
Is that a noose? As they continue their search of the place, they hear a voice.
Escutou a voz aqui, ó. Olha lá. Escutou a voz?
Credo, Sandro.
They hear something again and start to head upstairs.
Sério, cara, eu tô falando assim. Ouviu?
O que foi isso? Meu Deus.
Pega a mão aí.
Sandro, o que foi isso?
Vamos lá. Não, aqui eu sei, aqui. Não vai, gente.
But they soon wish they wouldn't have.
Pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Nossa, pegar aí.
Vamos sair daqui.
Ô, cara! Meu Deus do céu, Sandro! Que cara? Ô, velho! O que Lucas? Ô, Lucas!
What just dragged this crew member down the stairs? If it is indeed a spirit, I wouldn't be following it downward. It may be leading this team to the fiery depths below. A paranormal explorer from Turkey named Ansari is documenting a haunted tunnel that's too scary for him to get very far.
جوا يا بسم الله شو هاد والله العظيم اطلعوا يا بسم الله.
Behind him, an eerie red ring radiates with an evil force. He knows he has to get out quick or else he will succumb to its terrifying effects, but as he creeps near the entrance, the haunted tunnel takes a final swipe at him.
في صوت حركة بسم الله شو هاد خليني أقرب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يلي موجود هون بسم الله سمعتوه أقسم بالله العظيم في صوت حركة يا والله العظيم في شيء عم يركض جوا
Bismillah.
And Zari's had enough and decides to block off the tunnel to contain whatever evil is inside. But it seems as though whatever scary thing he's caught on tape has other plans.
إنه هالفكرة هي منيحة. من هون لبكرة أنا بيبين معي إذا رح يا بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أقسم بالله العظيم شفتوا شلون شالت.
It seems like the rock could have simply fallen over here, but it's very heavy and shouldn't tip over so easily. It's hard to say if it was pushed over by a ghost or simply off balance to begin with, so let me know if you think this video is paranormal or not. As for why only a small portion of the tunnel would be glowing red like that, I have no idea. What's in the closet of this hotel? Posted by Horror Talk, this TikToker appears to be filming your standard hotel lockbox on a top shelf of the closet, only this one's not so standard. The lockbox keeps beeping and flashing sixes, the sign of the devil, after which it repeatedly shows an error.
I'm literally over here I'm terrified.
The girl is far away from the lockbox, and no one else is in the room. She says she just got back from the hotel bar and was reading a scary book when this started happening. Some think the 6th key was just pressed too many times and is malfunctioning. Others think the ghost is just trying to get his valuables. But what I'm wondering is what's in the box? Vickers Hill in Northern Ireland has a twisted history, and a piece of this history may have been caught on video. A bit of backstory. The footage shows a shadowy figure in Georgian attire cross the street around noon near the Church of Ireland Cathedral. Normal looking enough at first, that is, until it vanishes into the wall of the grounds opposite the cathedral. The ancient city of Armagh has a rich Georgian history, so the dress is befitting of the area. According to the man whose grandmother caught this on camera, she was still hyperventilating from the shock of seeing the ghost. If you saw what appeared to be a solid figure vanish like this, wouldn't you be? And considering the history of this place, it's not far-fetched to think this is paranormal. These Snapchat videos were taken days after YouTuber Miss Brown 070809 and her co-worker decide to summon a spirit at her job for fun. She has felt constantly watched ever since. Maybe it's just a glitch, but the timing and movement of these Snapchat videos is a little too coincidental at times. It really does seem as if a spirit is responding to her without delay, like here for example.
Friend, where are you? I want to see you, please.
Look at how the ghost actually appears at eye level and follows the movement of a colleague.
It's here, dancing with them.
And when she pluralizes the word friends, more of them seem to come out of nowhere.
Friends, I need to say goodbye. Oh my god, you brought so many friends here, what the
I find it odd that multiple faces appear after she says friends. I'm not saying that these absolutely have to be spirits, but the timing is undeniably strange at the very least. For those of you who haven't heard or don't remember, on August 13th, 2018, a man named Chris Watts made national headlines after taking the lives of his 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste, and his wife Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant. 2 police investigators and a special canine handler now searched the Watts residence on August 14th, one day after Shanann was reported missing. They are confident that their dog will be able to sniff out any DNA evidence that Chris Watts may have tried to scrub away. What they find instead is an abundance of paranormal evidence as recorded by their chest-mounted camera. Like this part where I hear the unmistakable laughter of a child as they pass through Bella's room at 12 minutes and 32 seconds. Listen for yourself, there's no denying it.
So there's plenty of person here.
Yes.
I'm hoping that was a motion-activated doll or something, but I doubt it, especially given what else they hear in the next room over. A voice says something like, "I have CC," which is short for Celeste, and they are standing in the room of Celeste too. Then again, I think it could be the K9 handler saying something under her breath as she checks the closet, so maybe it's not paranormal after all. Things get weird once again as they enter the garage. Another voice, a woman this time. But it could be the officer whispering something to herself. Moments later, they pass by these containers in the garage. Containers Chris was believed to have used to transport the bodies from the house into his truck. The dog sniffs them, but everything looks clean.
Something has set him off down in this area.
As they are walking away, they record this. It's a wail of agony coming from all directions at once. But that's not all. The most compelling evidence occurs in the very beginning, but I've saved it for last. Check out the top of the stairway on the left when they first enter. There is some movement that I find very strange. It could be a trick of the light playing across the rails, but I see a little girl rushing down the steps. A girl with a short haircut. She vanishes before she reaches the bottom, and this event also coincides with a shadow figure sighting recorded by police on a different night after the home security alarm mysteriously went off on its own. It's in the same area and roughly the same size as before. A poor girl lost, looking down at the entrance and disappearing before she reaches the bottom of the stairs. Did you ever pull an all-nighter in a haunted house? Paranormal investigators Dennis and Tim pair up as Nerve Paranormal to spend the night in this haunted place. They set up cameras and a tape recorder inside. First, a shadow in the corner is seen.
Стояла будто бы тень вот так в углу. Да? Я тебе что хочу сказать-то? Смотри. Смотри. Я эту фигню закрывал.
Once they have the cameras positioned, they go to sleep.
Ну все, в принципе. Как заснуть? Положиться, отдыхать. Я не знаю, после этого все.
Something immediately messes with their camera. And then their lights. Another camera captures something entering their room. You're probably asking yourself, how could they sleep through all that racket? Well, they won't sleep through this. There's nothing inside, but there definitely is, and I think Dennis and Tim won't be getting any more sleep tonight. This ghost is hungry. Published by Pilot Error Podcast in December of 2020. This woman was finally able to capture on camera what had apparently been happening for a while. After hearing a noise in the kitchen, she grabs her camera and waits. That's when she sees this. The cupboard is opening just a little bit at first, then it opens a little wider, and then, instead of running away from the spirit, this woman runs toward it.
All open.
And once in the kitchen, things get worse. Is this poltergeist just inviting everyone to dinner? And will you attend? Should be an interesting enough meal. This YouTuber works security at a building that's so haunted, he can't even get past to the elevator without scary stuff happening. It's gotten to the point where he records anywhere he goes because the place is seriously that haunted by paranormal poltergeist activity everywhere. The building has a nice gym room, for example, but it seems the equipment is always in use one way or another. Weird things are always caught on camera moving around on their own when he's out of arm's length.
Para darles una sorpresa a ver cuando vengan, que no saben que estoy aquí. ¡Hostias!
But it is perhaps this haunted playroom area that sees the most paranormal activity of all. So that's a lot of freaky stuff to have happened, but he's been making videos for years, and I've saved the absolute scariest video for last. You're not going to believe this one because it's that beyond creepy. He lives alone and hears the voices of a family coming from his room. When he calls into the darkness, he is answered by the shadow person sighting. The dark outline of a shadow moving in the small amounts of light coming through a crack in the door.
Hostia, la luz.
There's no doubt that somebody was in there with him, but was it planned, or was it a real ghost sighting caught on video? I think when you look at all of the paranormal video evidence caught on tape, you'll conclude that this place is really haunted. He could be faking it, but I don't really see how. Also, with barely any views on his videos, I don't see why he would continue for years on end, unless it was really happening to him. This old dormitory has a story to tell. According to the channel 01 Supernatural Studio, who published this video in February of 2022, this dormitory was left behind by a foreign company after an incident happened in this place. What type of incident though? Well, he doesn't go into detail, but considering the company left this place abandoned, it must not be a good one. Using thermotechnology along with an EMF meter, the ghost hunter quickly detects some energy here. As he's exploring the place, he's ascending the stairs when his EMF meter again detects an energy field. His thermotechnology spies what looks like a figure in the corner. Later, while he's standing still, he hears a faint noise coming from somewhere within the house. Who is there with him? Maybe this dorm hasn't been abandoned after all. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, "Couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one bright brightly lit window on the second floor, there stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him. Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. While that may be so, you could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018. This image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground and she is suspended in the air. I am looking for more information about this scary video because I could not find the brave ghost hunter who caught all of this paranormal evidence on camera. This house has a dangerous djinn inside, a spirit bent on scaring the ghost hunter away. The door seems too far away for him to be opening it with his foot. Later, a bucket on the floor mysteriously moves all by itself seconds later, and when he looks up, this shadow figure is caught in the light of his camera, and when he turns around, nothing is there, but the carpet flutters as if a stampede is coming through. I don't see how they are faking this part, so I am inclined to believe this might be real paranormal activity caught on tape. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, is thought to be very haunted and was the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. A YouTuber named Ricky Rock requests the most haunted room, 418, and records himself sleeping. Sounds of movement originate from within the room. Then, at around 3 a.m., he claims a spirit entered his body. This is the exact moment it happened. He sits up and stares directly at the camera with a blank expression. I guess he could still be half asleep, but many believe that he is under the control of a spirit. And that's when some presence apparently made him speak in tongues. Watch this part and tell me if it sounds like something paranormal or someone having a bad dream.
I don't know.
The comment section of this video seems to be evenly split between fake and real. So let me know what you think based on what I was able to show. This footage comes from a hotel camera in New York that's near Niagara Falls. Shane Sovar is a hotel manager who claims to have seen a large triangular UFO shoot past by his window one night. An on-duty hotel security officer backs up this claim and says that he saw it too. They contact an amateur UFO group called the Aerial Phenomenon Investigations Team, who does a standard investigation and leaves. Things get very odd soon after. Around 2 weeks after the aerial phenomenon was finished their investigation, a pair of men dressed in all black suits reportedly entered the hotel and began to interrogate witnesses for more information. They specifically wanted to know where Shane and the hotel security guard could be found. Shane said that people who had spoken with the men later told him how strange they looked. They were tall, pale, had no eyebrows or eyelashes, and basically looked exactly the same. They had especially large and unsettling eyes, and one woman told Shane that she felt like they were able to read her mind. Whether these two men were simply businessmen on vacation or actual government agents is anyone's guess, but Shane swears that he is telling the truth. Exactly what the team of UFO investigators had found during their investigation, along with whatever these men were looking for, has never been released to the public. Robert Arbuckle is the name of a man whose spirit is said to still inhabit this restaurant in Florida called Pelican's Alley. Two ghost investigators stand on the other side of the kitchen door where Robert is seen the most. You can see it is empty.
There it goes again. You see it underneath the door? It's getting darker and darker in that left-hand side for some reason.
A side profile of a man definitely appears in the doorway, yet when they go inside, the figure is gone. The question is whether or not this was a third friend, or in fact Robert himself. You often capture more than you bargain for on social media streams. Posted in July of 2019, this video shows a man wandering around an apparently abandoned apartment in the darkness. He seems to be praying, as he shoots video of some window-type compartment up in the right-hand corner of one of the rooms. You can see some stranger peeking through. The man continues to pray, and then suddenly screams in fear as he turns to capture something moving more aggressively in a huge box to his right as he races to get out of there. The door slams behind him. Even outside, he is not safe. He continues to pray while filming the exterior of the home. One of the window shutters up above opens and closes several times. Seems like this home needs more than prayer, it needs an exorcism. Most ghosts don't ask for permission, they just let themselves in. Published in January of 2022, Amitav Paranormal Tech YT writes that during her last live stream, her REM pod activated, so she decided to leave some equipment on during the night. She also left her security cameras on. Here's what they captured. The door of the room swings open, apparently letting no one in. A light to the side on a table then turns on and blinking can be seen throughout the room. What just let itself in? Is it something to be feared? Either way, it definitely wants itself to be known. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.